Good afternoon. Thank you for creating time for us. A very warm welcome to the Lunchtime News. My name is Irene Muchuma Odim. On sign language interpretation this afternoon, we have Lucy Moura. Do interact with us on this 13th day in the month of January 2022, where political temperatures continue to hit the country. Deputy President William Ruto is in the county of Kajiado. My colleague Khalid Abdullahi is with the delegation. Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka is in the county of Nairobi with Purity Museu, and the Orange Democratic Movement Party is this afternoon holding its National Executive Council meeting, and Kevin Washira is on the ground. Now, we kick off from the county of Kajiado, where Deputy President William Ruto is on vote hunting mission. This is a day after he was in the county of Nairobi, where he committed to ensure proper supply of water to city residents if elected to the top seat come 2022, and also ensure issuance of title deeds to city residents who have been able to purchase land. Let's cross over and listen in.
Ya hawa watu wadogo hawa. Sikizeni watu wa hapa Ngong. Si mimi nimekuja hapa Ngong kwa kiwanja. Si tumefanya harambee hapo ya kina mama. Si tumefanya harambee hapo ya bodaboda. Nilikuwa nasikia bwana Kitendawili juzi analalamika. Anasema ati huyu hasla anatoa wapi milioni 2 ya kupatia kikundi ya bodaboda. Ati anatoa wapi milioni 2 ya kupatia kikundi ya wamama. Mimi nataka kumwambia bwana Kitendawili, waacha kulalamikia milioni 2. Milioni 2 ni pesa kidogo. Mwaka huu tunaweka bilioni 50 kwa biashara ya hawa watu na wadharau. Kwani Kenya ni ya wadosi peke yao? No, Kenya ni yetu sisi sote bwana. Na biashara ya huyu unayemdharau ujue ndio inamsaidia kulisha familia yake. And it is our responsibility to promote everybody's business. Na ndio mimi nataka niwaambie watu wa hapa Mbulbul, hii ni mwaka tutapiga kura kujikomboa kwa ukabila na kiburi na madharau. Tujenge Kenya ya usawa ambaye kila mtu anaheshimika. Watu wa Kajiado tunaelewana jameni? Nimesema vile tutaweka pesa ya kutosha kwa kilimo, tuzalishe chakula ya kutosha, tusaidie wakulima waongeze mapato yao, ndio tupate chakula hapa sokoni kwa bei nafuu. Kila mmoja wetu aweze kulisha familia yake. Na jambo la 4 nawaambia hapa kwa sababu gani lazima wewe upige kura mwaka huu. Jambo la 4 na kuambia, kabla ya mwisho wa mwaka huu, kabla ya mwisho wa mwaka gani? Kabla ya mwisho wa mwaka gani? Kabla ya mwisho wa mwaka huu, kila mmoja wetu hapa utakuwa na bima ya afya ya NHIF. Kila mmoja wetu. Vile tulikuwa tumepanga ndani ya Big 4 mambo ya universal health coverage, ambayo rege ilituharibia nafasi yetu, tungekuwa tumeideliver zamani. Mimi nawaambia nikisimama hapa, miezi 4 inatosha. Kabla ya mwisho wa mwaka huu, kila mmoja wetu hapa utakuwa na bima ya afya ya NHIF, na utalipa kulingana na mapato yako, na yule ambaye huwezi kulipa, serikali ya Kenya itakulipia. Ndio kila mmoja wetu uende hospitalini, utibiwe, upatiwe madawa, na uende nyumbani bila ya kuulizwa pesa yoyote. Watu wa Ongata-Rongai, watu wa hapa Mbulbul mnaelewa. Watu wa hapa Ngong tunaelewana. Na sikizeni marafiki zangu. Sawa sawa. Unajua wale tunashindana na wao ni watu wa porojo na propaganda. Watakuja kusema, unaona hiyo William Ruto anasema haiwezekani. Nataka munisikize. Mimi ndio naibu wa rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya. Ni kweli ama si kweli? Mimi ndio nimesaidiana na Uhuru tukajenga reli. Tumejenga kilomita 10,000 ya lami, ikiwemo hii ya Mbulbul. Tumeweka watu stima milioni 8.5. Haya maneno mimi nawaambia, mimi si wazimu na mimi si mjinga. I know what I am saying. Tumekubaliana watu wa Embulbul? Tumekubaliana? That is the country we are looking for. And I want to tell you, especially the young people, this is the opportunity to vote against tribalism.
Deputy President William Ruto taking his campaigns to the county of Kajiado intend to join us in our subsequent bulletins at 7 and 9 p.m. for more details from Kajiado County. In other news, residents of Githithia village in Embu County have this morning halted activities of trucks facilitating the construction of a section of the Mau Mau Road due to dust storms, which they claim was affecting them. The agitated residents calling on the contractor to cascade water on the road, saying the thick dust is posing a great risk to their health and that of their crops.
Trucks hired to aid in the construction of the Mau Mau Road in Githithia village of Embu County, making their usual day trips. And with every round of trip, a cloud of dust accompanies them. The state of affairs has not gone down well with the locals here. This morning, the residents blocked the road with boulders and lit bonfires to express their frustrations. The residents claimed the contractor defaulted an agreement with the locals to cascade water on the road 3 times a day to avoid the accumulation of dust.
Wakati tuliitwa public participation na nilikuwa mmoja wa wale watu walikuwa public participation na tukaongea huko, tulikubaliana wakati wataanza kujenga hii barabara watakuwa wakimwaga maji mara 3 kwa siku, lakini hiyo hatujaiona.
The residents are now urging the contractor to follow the terms of the agreement, which was drafted during a public participation to safeguard the residents' health, crops and businesses, which have been greatly affected.
Na biashara inaendelea hapa. Imefungwa kwa vumbi. Juu ya vumbi. Juu asubuhi ukiamuka ndio hiyo vumbi. Hii malori ya Saina ikipita inaacha vumbi. Sasa unafungua biashara uhusie nani? Na hakuna watu wanakuja. Hii ni maendeleo mzuri tumefanyiwa, lakini watu muagie maji.
Maana chakula ukienda kuchuna kwa shamba, hiyo sukuma uwezi kula, inakaa pumbi. Hata ukienda kulima uwezi lima kwa ajili ya hiyo pumbi. Inafanya nini macho? Watu wakagonjeka.
Reporting for Lunchtime News, I'm Wamboi Otiende.
A court in Embu has ordered a man who allegedly murdered his 8-year-old grandmother be taken to hospital before an application to hold him for investigations is heard and determined. The suspect, Timothy Gitonga, aged 30, collapsed during a court session, prompting the magistrate, Tony Kwambai, to postpone the hearing. A court session in Embu came to a halt after a murder suspect, Timothy Gitonga, collapsed and failed to regain energy. Timothy, aged 30, is said to have murdered his 80-year-old grandmother, Jones Kiringa, and injuring his grandfather, Jamle Kwamai, under mysterious circumstances in Embu County. Senior Embu Magistrate Tony Kwambai said the suspect should receive treatment before appearing in court for hearing on the 17th of January 2022. The senior magistrate observed that the suspect could not continue with the hearing as he was in pain.
In the meantime, we will be held at the Tirup police station. We'll have the safe mention on 17th of this month, Monday. And I would really need to see any treatment notes there.
The court further ordered the suspect to be held at Itabua police station until the next court session to determine his fate. Busia County government has begun a 2-day meeting with the international donor community to assess the joint devolution program in the county. The meeting will highlight the gains made by the international partnership as well as pave way for the strengthening of more county projects. Busia Governor Sospita Ojamong, while meeting with the international donor community, said some of the proposals in the pipeline is the construction of trailer parks in Busia and Malaba Town. UNICEF representative to Kenya, Jean Lokenga, said the objective of the donor mission is to support the county generate its own revenue to improve its services, particularly in the social sector.
Kwa hivyo tuangazia tu yale mafanikio tumepata na vile tutaendelea mbele. Kwa hivyo ndio tunaangalia maneno ya mafanikio katika sekta ya afya, nutrition, na maneno vile tunapanga bajeti yetu na mipangilio zetu za maendeleo katika county, maneno ya revenue na zile ambazo programs zote ambazo zinahusika na devolution.
So investing in nutrition is very crucial, and we cannot do so in one sector, taking a one sector approach. Working with the county in terms of the investment, financial investment, working with the agriculture sector, the education, and the health sector.
Now, 4 gubernatorial aspirants in Clifford County have decided to support one of their own in case there will be unfair nominations in the party primaries set for April this year. Kilifi Deputy Governor Gideon Saburi of ODM, Bahanguma of Kadu Asili, Michael Tinga of UDA, and Nzombo Mbaru, who is yet to declare the party he is going to vie on, agreed to form a coalition after the nominations and front one of them as the flag bearer.
The decision by the 4 comes at a time when parties like ODM announced they might give direct nominations to loyal candidates, creating fear among other aspirants that there will be no fair nominations. The 4 aspirants announced the decision during the launch of Azimio la Mageuzi Kilifi, an initiative of the Deputy Governor which brought together residents, Kaya elders, former MCAs, religious leaders, and opinion leaders from the constituency.
Kwa hivyo tunaongea, lakini nishawaambia ya kwamba hicho kiti itabidi nyi wadogo pia mngoje kidogo. Mkingoja kidogo, tukienda huko mbele na vile tunavyoendelea kuzungumza, tutazungumza, tutaelewana. Ama ni vipi ndugu zangu? Ndugu zangu, magavana wenzangu, hawa tutazungumza nao vizuri kwa makini na tutakuja kuelewana.
Wakati huu ni wakati wa mageuzi. Wakati huu ni wakati wa kujiuliza ni nani ambaye anaweza kuwa kiongozi bora? Na hilo haliwezi kufanyika bila kufanya mageuzi. Itakuwa yatosha kuona ndugu yangu Saburi akiwa gavana mwezi wa 8 kwa sababu ni kiongozi bora.
Sote tuko hapa tunataka ugavana, lakini sababu ni kwamba ni lazima tukae pamoja kama wanaume.
Elsewhere, Bomet County Governor Hilary Barchok has accused former Governor Isaac Ruto for allegedly using guns to interrupt UDA rally at Bomet Stadium last Monday, which was attended by Deputy President William Ruto.
Because when you forcefully enter into somebody's program and you are not part of that program, we have our own ceremonies. That is quite unfortunate.
Meanwhile, in West Pokot County, a section of youth from the region have called for sobriety over the increasing tension between the supporters of UDA and area governor Professor John Lonyangapuo.
Siku ya kuweka hiyo vitu bado kisheria. That is why sijui wote ya UDA wamekokopa na kushangaa nini. Tumeambia hawa don't bring those things into the conflict. Ngojeni ile siku itakayokuwa kasete, kampeni zinaanza. Sheria inakubali nao muweke hizo posters yenu.
Umestuka 5 years imeisha, wewe hujafanya kitu. Sasa na bahati mbaya tama bahati mzuri Kachapino ameingia kwa chama ya kazi ni kazi. Na yeye ni mtu ya kazi ni kazi. So governor, wacha pressure. Tarehe 9 mwezi wa 9 mwaka huu raia wataongea.
And finally, the trend of installing political aspirants by elders, some on hire, was gaining traction in the larger Gusii region ahead of the August 2022 general elections. Speaking at Nyakowe in Kitutu Churches South during the installation of William Mbaka, an aspirant for a key elective seat in the county, Samson Nyamoko, an elder, clarified on the need for elders' blessing before one ventures into politics.
Because if you are leading, then you must look at the roadmap, how you are going to structure the satisfaction of the people's needs.
Watu wanasimikwa ama wanawekewa mikono kwenda kuongoza wengine. Sisi kama Wakisii tunaamini ya kwamba mtu kuwekewa mikono lazima kwanza wazee wamwangalie tabia yake, mwenendo wake, vile anajishughulisha na mambo ya jamii hiyo.
Sports Cabinet Secretary Amina Mohamed is currently launching Agnes Tirup conference aimed at bringing a level play for all people interested in sports, and she is currently addressing the press here at the Kenya National Library Center. Let's listen in.
And action against perpetrators of any form of discrimination, but most importantly, against perpetrators of gender-based violence. As a ministry, and with the direction and support of His Excellency the President, we have organized a conference for sports stakeholders from our country and beyond. We want to provide a platform where members, stakeholders, sportsmen and women, officials can converge and discuss the priority issues of inclusivity, of welfare, and of dignity, and especially in sports. And our interest and the objective that we have is to find sustainable solutions. The three-day conference, which we have named the Agnes Tirup Conference, will run under the theme Leveling the Playing Field, Gender Inclusivity in Sports, and will include plenary sessions. It will include panel discussions on key thematic areas, and these areas are legal and policy framework areas, women in leadership, sports, mental health, and sports as a tool for ending discrimination. We have a theme of resource mobilization so that we can provide the support that is required. We also have a panel on the role of key sector players, including those in education and the media, in mitigating gender-based violence and gender-based discrimination. We shall also have capacity building for athletes and sports officials, and we will have a few sessions of mentorship for the athletes who will be there. From the list of invited dignitaries to the structure of the event and the level of media coverage we intend to have, this will not be just another conference. We intend to come out of this conference with a clear roadmap that will ensure and set the standard for inclusivity and for dignity in sports in our country, once and for all, and will develop a universal template for others to see. Furthermore, we awake to the reality of the day that's COVID-19.
Sports Cabinet Secretary addressing members of the press at the Kenya National Library here in the county of Nairobi. My colleague Dan Mwenda will be bringing us the details in our subsequent bulletins later on in the day. In Kajiado County, hundreds of traders in Ilbisil town have held protest against an alleged land grabbing in the area. The traders claim the said land had been set aside for the construction of a market but has since been grabbed by private developers under the alleged watch of local leaders.
The angry traders at Ilbisil town held peaceful demonstrations protesting against eviction from this parcel of land.
Tumeamushwa hapa tukapelekwa mpaka huko chini na pale mali yenye tumepelekwa soko. I hope nikikuambia ukweli saa imeuzwa, hakuna kitu imebaki. So mimi kama najua kama wananchi nini leadership wameuza pale, tafadhali waache kutuchezea akili.
Mimi nimeshangaa leo na mama kukuja kukura mahali ya shule. Na mimi sidanganyangi na mtu. Hii siasa hawezi kulia na mambo watu wa kusema kukura baba sababu ya siasa.
Plans were in place to construct a market for the traders on this land. According to the traders, however, their hopes are dwindling. They allege the land has now been grabbed by a private developer with the aid of local leaders and may see traders relocate to a land away from town.
Huko chini town ndio nataka soko iwe. Hawa mama mboga hawana, kwanza saa hii kuna njaa. Saa hii wanahangaika tangia jana wakitafuta mali ya kuuza. Hatuna.
Na sisi hapa nataka watoto kuja asumbuliwe hapa kupigwa tiagas kwa sababu ya mambo ya shule, pile watu wamehamia kiwanja ya shule.
The more than 500 traders, however, say they will stay put, calling on the county government to intervene before the situation gets out of hand.
Na naomba Girumaja, patieni sisi soka ya Ngusero. Soka ya Ngusero ni yetu, haki yetu. Maambia watu ila amekirabi hiyo soko yetu, aondoke.
Mimi napenda kuambia wananchi warudi waenda akae mahali yenye walipewa hata kama imeuzwa. Tutakaa pale, hatubanduki pale. Hapo ndio soko. Na kama imeuzwa, mwenye aliuza arudi aondoke ama ashikwe.
Thank you for your company. Keep watching, keep texting on our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1 on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. We are taking a short commercial break. We'll be back with more. Stay with us.
Tusirudi nyuma kwa mipaka na nchi kufungwa. Tusirudi kwa biashara na shule kufungwa. Kwa kutoweza kukutana. Kwa kutengana na tuwapendao. Tusirudi nyuma.
Na kuhitaji unikinge, pata chanjo.
Ili tuendelee na maisha vizuri.
Na kuhitaji unikinge, pata chanjo.
Na kuhitaji unikinge,
pata chanjo.
Na kuhitaji unikinge,
pata chanjo.
Na kuhitaji unikinge, pata chanjo.
Ili tuendeleze maisha bora kwa ajili ya wapendao, nchi yetu na usoni wetu. Kwa ajili yetu sisi sote. Pata chanjo. Kaa chonjo. Kuhakikisha nchi yetu na uchumi wetu umestawi katika uwazi. Tusirudi nyuma.
The process proudly brought to you by Busia Furnitures Limited. Local manufacturers of quality office furniture and dealers in quality office equipment like fireproof safes and cabinets. For orders, visit our showroom at Uniafric House, Koinange Lane off Koinange Street.
Sasa yani hata iweje yani. Na yule aliyoko pale saizi haezi toboa.
Mimi nilikuwa ninakufuata bwana ili tuende kule mjini tukutane na governor tumfunge mdomo tuje tuendelee na kazi.
So what happened?
Paka tumpe time, hebu tumpe mwezi mmoja. Tuangalie wafanya kazi kweli ama wafanya.
Mwezi mmoja tena.
Mwezi mmoja.
We shall deal with them ruthlessly. Na wewe mwenyewe utaona.
Thank you for staying with us. You're watching the Lunchtime News. The county government of Laikipia has begun helping families whose houses were destroyed by bandits in Olmoran area of 5 months ago. Governor Ndiritu Mureithi says the county government is also rehabilitating roads and helping build police infrastructure in Kirima sub-county, among other things.
The first to benefit from the government-sponsored program are families in Kisindogo village, whose houses were set ablaze at the height of the conflict. The program comes as a relief to many victims who have had to make to do with limited amenities.
Ako na haki ya kuishi mahali popote Kenya, na kwa hivyo ndio tunaweka bidii kurebuild hii Olmoran. Muliona huko survey, huko tunaweka stima na tunajenga mambo ya polisi. Hata hatukufika, mliona huko Donyuriwo mahali tumeenda, hiyo barabara zote na hizi barabara za hapa katikati tutaendelea na kuzifanyia kazi kwa sababu ndio haki ya Mkenya.
The county government is looking to put up a police command division headquarters at the Olmoran Trading Center and staff houses at the Survey Shopping Center.
Na ndio maana mimi natoa, na mnajua mimi ni chairman ya mambo ya Azimio, ndio sisi tunataka Wakenya wote tuingie ama tuwe pamoja kwa azimio la umoja wa Wakenya. Manake area hii Wakenya kutoka jamii mbalimbali wanaishi hapa na tunataka waishi kwa amani.
The beneficiaries have lauded the program, even as they urge the government to ensure lasting peace and stability.
Saa hii tunahamia hapa kwetu, tunalala tu. Hata saa hii ninatoka kwa msituni kukatakata hiyo miti, niweka kitu kitoko kwa nyumba hii vile naweza, alafu niingie.
Timothy Kipnusu for Lunchtime News.
Farmers in Kitui County are staring at yet another tough season as crops continue to wither due to the persistent drought in the area. The farmers say pasture is also dwindling and water scarcity is pushing their livestock to the brink.
Monica Mwendo says she has lost 8 cows to drought and the remaining ones are growing weak by the day.
Ninasikia nimeteseka sana. Sasa ng'ombe wamekufa, hakuna maji, hakuna chakula, na tena ugonjwa nao kaingilia katikati. Hata mimi saa zingine nakuwa napigwa na roho sana.
Monica says she is forced to walk several kilometers to access water for her livestock.
Tangu kiangazi chaanze tulipoteza ng'ombe 8 na maji mahali napatikana tunaenda kilomita 9 ama 8 hivi. Mahali maji napatikana. Hata nyasi hakuna.
Just like Monica, David Kimanzi says he has lost 3 of his cows to drought.
Kiangazi kimeanza mwezi wa 4. Manake mvua haikunyesha ikatosha. Ilikuwa kidogo sana. Sasa kutoka mwezi wa 4 mpaka saa hii, na mpaka saa hii mpaka mahali mvua itanyesha, hatujui itanyesha tarehe ngapi na mwezi upi.
The farmers want the national government to dig boreholes in the region to avert a crisis.
Nataka serikali tusaidie na maji na tusaidie kwa watoto kwa shule, kwa sababu tunaticha pesa hatuna. Hakuna mradi unaweza kuja huku, sisi tunaendelea mbaya sana.
Over the last 12 months, some 1.4 million herds of cattle have been lost to drought. The number of people in need of food aid in the country has also risen from 2.1 to 2.8 million.
Residents of Malindi living on land earmarked for the expansion of the Malindi International Airport have been warned against putting up new buildings on the said land. The National Development Implementation Technical Committee noted that a consultant had already conducted evaluation of the property on the earmarked land and warned that those who put up new buildings will not be compensated.
The government says more land is needed for the extension of the main runway from current 1.4 kilometers to about 2.4 kilometers to allow international planes land directly at the airport.
Kwa sasa hivi, kwa sababu ya ufupi
wa sehemu ambayo ndege inaweza kuanguka, zile ndege kubwa haziwezi kuanguka hapa. Kwa hivyo sasa maoni na maendeleo ambayo yanatakiwa hapa ni kupata shamba ya kuweza kusukuma hiyo sehemu ya ndege kuangukia ili ifike kama kilomita 2.4.
The National Development Implementation Technical Committee, comprised of 9 principal secretaries led by their health counterpart Susan Mochache, met with the airport management on the expansion plan. 5 billion shillings will be required to compensate those to be affected by the expansion.
So the issue here is about fast-tracking access to the money so that that compensation can now be undertaken and the land acquired. The only thing that I would like to urge the people who are living there is to really limit the development. They know that there is an intention by government to develop that land, and there is no point of developing it. Yet we are now almost at the point where we are almost confident that compensation will be done.
Tulimweka consultant afanye kile kinachoitwa environmental impact assessment na vile vile kukuja na reallocation action plan. Hiyo ilimalizwa ikaforwardiwa kwa NEMA na NEMA wameshai approve. So tuko na approved NEMA certificate ya kuweza kuendeleza runway. Sasa kilichobakia ni hela.
The Kenya Airports Authority plans to, among others, extend the main runway to be able to allow large planes to land with ease and thus boost tourism in Malindi, Watamu and Mambrui. Recently, representatives of the more than 1,800 families living on the land earmarked for Phase 2 of the proposed Malindi International Airport expansion project asked the government to speed up compensation for their property.
Tunahitaji malipo. Pesa ilipwe ya airport kwa sababu saa hizi manyumba yameanguka, yamebaki mahame kwa sababu watu hawezi kujenga, na wakijenga wana wasiwasi labda pengine hii mambo inaweza kuwa kesho. Kwa hivyo tunahitaji ya kwamba watu walipwe pesa yao.
Na tangu wafanye hiyo evaluation hatujapata tena majibu. Hali yetu imekuwa duni. Vibarua hakuna tena, na hata yale manyumba tulitengemea kwa kukodisha, watu wametukimbia area hii sababu ya huu mradi wa airport. Mtu akija anasema lakini huku ni kwa airport, anatoka anaenda.
Kamchemenza for Lunchtime News.
To some good news now, a cleft-focused organization, Smile Train, has partnered with the University of Nairobi to offer scholarships for medical students in Africa to study plastic and reconstructive surgery. The program will benefit 20 resident doctors over the next 5 years. The University of Nairobi Vice-Chancellor Professor Stephen Kiama says the medical scholarships will increase access to quality healthcare through the education and training of surgeons. Kiama says Smile Train is one among the many organizations helping Kenya accelerate its march to universal healthcare.
Our scholars can share knowledge and get opportunities also to invite others from out of this country to also share with them. And progressively we improve the way we deliver this service, that is bringing Smile one at a time.
Millions of people on the African continent still lack access to safe, affordable surgical and anesthesia care. Smile Train has active cleft care programs in 40 countries across Africa with more than 245 partners and over 255 partner hospitals across the continent.
Not just our ultimate beneficiary, who is a child born with cleft lip and palate, but a wider range of people and children living with reconstructive needs in our community.
Members of the Embu County Assembly are calling for a lifestyle audit of public officers and investigations into the operations of the Embu County government by the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission. The request follows the resignation of the Deputy Governor from his position as the Health CEC over lack of necessary support. The ward representative that said the county is losing money through diversions of public funds to private accounts. They want the government to intervene and save the residents of Embu by recovering all misappropriated funds and property.
Ni vizuri EACC iangalie ione, wewe kama ulikuwa chief officer unatakiwa uwe na mangorova wewe kweli? Hii pesa umetoa wapi? Unatakiwa uwe na mashamba kiasi hii kweli? Kama unaonekana na cannot be able to substantiate, uwezi eleza, hii yote inauzwa, inarudishwa kwa serikali ya county.
So I may call upon our His Excellency the Governor, kindly collect the mess. Just give the acting capacity to the relevant people.
Now, residents and peace actors in Isiolo North and Samuru East sub-counties have begun talks to end perennial conflicts in the region. Samuru East Deputy County Commissioner Pius Murugu at the same time warned the youth against causing animosity within the community. The conflict has seen at least 22 people dead, 7 injured, and over 600 heads of livestock stolen along the Isiolo-Samburu common border.
Tumeonelea ya kwamba lazima wasee wanjihusishe sana kwa maneno ya usalama, especially in grassroots leaders, na tungependa kushukuru sana shirika la Peace Link na pia Reinvent wale ambao wamefadhili hii mkutano ya leo. Iko majangili ambaye within our Graceland mahali community ya Borana na Samburu wanakutana, iko wengine wachache ambao wanaletanga ukosefu wa amani. Tumewatambua kama criminals na ni wachache sana.
A family from Likoni whose kin had been in U.S. detention for more than 14 years without any charges, breathing a sigh of relief after their son was released by the authorities. Abdulhamlik Mohamed Rajabu was detained alongside Guled Hassan Duran, a Somali national, at Guantanamo Bay detention facility in Cuba.
The decision to release the two was announced on Tuesday this week by the Periodic Review Board, a U.S. agency established to determine whether detainees at the facility were guilty. According to the Periodic Review Board of U.S., Rajab was inspired by a radical imam to leave Kenya in 1996 to receive extremist training in Somalia, where he was recruited in the defunct Al-Qaeda in East Africa. The U.S. board also said Rajab was involved in the execution of terrorism in Mombasa against the Paradise Hotel and an Israel airliner in 2002. In their home, Likoni sub-county, Rajab's sister Muchuma Rajab said the news of her younger brother release was conveyed by her friends through telephone after reading it in newspaper dailies.
Nimepokea habari hizi kwa furaha kubwa sana na pia kwa mshtuko, kwa sababu ni kitu ambacho sikudhania siku moja chaweza kutokea, lakini nimejua kweli Mungu yuko na Mungu ni mkubwa.
Muchuma revealed at the time of arrest her brother had been married and with 3 children.
Na pia hatujajua kama akiachiliwa atakuwa safe akija Kenya au hatakuwa safe, hatujajua. Isipokuwa tu maombi yangu kwa serikali, iwapo ataachiliwa, Kenya impokee kama Mkenya, kwa sababu ikiwa mimi ni Mkenya, yeye atakuwaje si Mkenya? Kenya impokee kama Mkenya, na kule amekaa hakufunguliwa mashtaka, hakuwa na jambo lolote, alikaa hiyo miaka 15, basi kwa hiyo akija hapa awe huru.
She said while her brother was still in prison, their parents died.
And now to our weekly feature, Cinemas and Theatre. Our reporter Jacqueline Masharia reviews the film Baba Twins. Take a look.
Worms. Uko na ball.
Baba Twins is a comedy drama that follows a young carefree airline hostess called Worms who is thrust into motherhood and has to raise twins. On the other hand, Tony, her socialite baby daddy, is a bachelor struggling to balance his public image and his ambitions when he becomes the unlikely father to the twins.
The Mzuka Super Drive with your boy, Tony Kiwo.
Worms is forced to navigate through her nanny drama and Tony, her socialite baby daddy, who is not ready to be a dad.
Now, toy?
You got this.
Starring Violeta Ngina, who plays the character Worms, and Maurice Mwangi, who plays the character Tony, Baba Twins drama seeks to educate and entertain the audience.
We had auditions and we were essentially looking for a new face. We showed up, we auditioned, and I said, I love her. Have you been on TV before? She said she mostly hosts events and she had hosted a show in our channel a while back, but she had never acted. She didn't have any acting experience and was excited. So it was not as hard to convince now our client to take a chance on this person because her audition was really good. And the same thing with Tony, who played Baba Twins. I mean, he's an amazing actor. I've seen him in a lot of shows. So he has been in a lot of shows, but he has not been on every show. So for me, that was a selling point for Tony, and he was amazing in terms of what he fed us. He fed the character of Tony. So the others, we got a few cameos because again, it being a film, we needed that sort of publicity on social media. So we got a few cameos to give us that push, but the core cast, we really tried to go with a known person.
Baba Twins is produced by Lucy Mwangi through her production company Moonbeams Productions, which is credited with award-winning comedy TV shows.
Set out to do Baba Twins as a series, so we were going to pitch it as a TV series, and then when we sat with the writers and we started developing the series, and we wanted to tell, actually it was called Mama Twins because we wanted to tell the story of a young mom who has to raise multiples. But then as the story developed, we realized that the journey of motherhood has been told over and over again. Like there's nothing new in a mom who's struggling to raise kids. So when this story evolved, then we moved it from being a Mama Twins kind of story to focus it on Baba Twins because we felt now that would give us a unique angle into parenting.
Having been a producer of different TV shows, Lucy noted that producing a movie was completely different to producing the normal TV shows.
I realized that I needed to get a different cinematographer for the film, someone who had the experience, because how everything is done is so different from how we will film and shoot for TV. So in terms of technical, even the equipment we had to use were very different from what we do use when we're doing our TV series. The movie we shot, like the timeline in the film is 2 years. So how do we keep that in terms of even continuity?
Lucy describes her first foray into film production as a huge responsibility that has made her face her fears head on.
Currently, a lot of the content that we're producing is going on the paid-for platforms because there's just no demand on free-to-air for local content, which just makes me very sad. Because what has happened, in my opinion, is that we do not, or the policymakers really have not quite appreciated the importance of what we call, I don't think we have a film industry, maybe we have a sector of what we have in the film, or the potential of the film industry.
Umenelewa? Thank you. All right, let's go.
We have a few associations that are sort of trying to streamline, even just streamlining the industries, because for a very long time, producers, we've operated on a solo kind of thingy, like it's mine, it's my business, it's my company. As long as I have a production going on me, I'm good. Whereas a few years ago, we would view each other as competitors. Now we are looking at each other as collaborators. So there's a lot of that is happening in the industries where producers are able to work together.
Baba Twins is the first Showmax original film in Kenya, another significant step for Showmax and for Lucy, who's looking to replicate her TV success. Jacqueline Masharia for Cinemas and Theatre.
Thank you for staying with us. Continue interacting with us on our social media platforms. Quick acknowledgements. Mwarimbo Makio, you're saying you're watching KBC Channel 1 from Jomvu. Soro Mwangi, you're saying you're watching KBC Channel 1 from Nanyuki. Now, time for business news. President Uhuru Kenyatta on Wednesday made day-long impromptu working visits of Naivasha Inland Container Depot, ICD, Kisumu Shipyard and the new Mbita Bridge at the Naivasha Inland Container Depot. The president witnessed the transshipment of container cargo from the standard gauge railway to the meter gauge railway and took a train ride from Naivasha to Longonot.
The Naivasha Inland Container Depot facility handles mostly transit cargo to the Great Lakes region, including Uganda, South Sudan, DRC, Burundi, Rwanda, and northern Tanzania. The depot is linked to the Mombasa Port Container Terminal by a rail-tainer service on the Mombasa to Suswa standard gauge railway line, which brings port services closer to customers and helps reduce congestion on roads at the port of Mombasa and the Nairobi Inland Container Depot. On Monday, Kenya Railways successfully ran the first trial freight train on the new constructed link, connecting the standard gauge railway and meter gauge railway, offering seamless cargo transport between the port of Mombasa and Malaba. And on Wednesday, President Uhuru Kenyatta made an impromptu work visit of Naivasha Inland Container Depot, which has the capacity to handle over 2 million tons of cargo annually. Immediately after, the president proceeded to Kisumu Port, where he toured the Kisumu Shipyard and inspected the ongoing construction of MV Uhuru 2 wagon ferry, dry dock and slipway.
Alafu hapa Mbita mulituambia ya kwamba mnataka hii causeway ivunjwe na ndio maji yaanze kutembea tena na ndio samaki irudi na ndio wavuvi wetu waweze kupata biashara yao.
In Mbita, President Kenyatta inspected the new bridge which replaced the 1983 causeway. The president said the government is dredging the area to remove the massive siltation that has been a hindrance to human activities on the lake, including fishing and maritime transport.
Tutakuja tujenge bandari ndogo hapa Mbita Point. Tuende tujenge ingine kule Homa Bay. Ndio hizo fishing port zote ziweze kurudi, biashara irudi, wavuvi wapate kazi, wakina mama wale walikuwa wanauza samaki warudi kwa kazi.
Reporting for Lunchtime News, my name is Ibak Said.
Investor activity in the real estate sector is projected to remain low as developers deploy a wait-and-see attitude ahead of the August general election. Seton real estate research analyst Fidelis Wanalonge says that despite a recovering economy and emerging opportunities, projected risks may affect investments in the real estate sector this year.
In an annual housing report by Seton Real Estate for 2021, apartments recorded average total returns of 6.7% in comparison to the detached houses' mean returns of 5.6%, while the retail and commercial office segments recorded increases in rental yields to 7.8 and 7.1 from 7.5 and 7% respectively in 2020. However, Seton Real Estate research analyst Fidelis Wanalengwe says investors may be skeptical in 2022 amid looming risks.
Generally, our outlook for 2022 is neutral because despite the fact that there was the reopening of the economy and investor confidence, we are also expecting to see a more conservative approach this year. Because of the fact that there's the general elections coming up. So of course investors would want to hold on to their money, let's say, so that they wait and see what would be the environment after the elections.
In 2021, the Kenyan real estate sector witnessed increased housing development with a general improvement in real estate transactions, mainly driven by focus on affordable housing projects and an improved business environment. Wanalwenge says quality affordable student housing is an underserved niche.
The number of students who enter into university, or rather are enrolled into university, they are higher than the supply of who require housing, that is, who require housing in universities. It's higher than the number of supplied units for student housing. So that is why there's a niche in that market.
Currently, players expect the real estate sector's performance, in a best-case scenario, to be on an upward trajectory, mainly supported by the government's focus on the affordable housing agenda. Alanauko, Lunchtime News.
And let's get to the fields. Time for Channel 1 Sports News. Confederation of African Football CAF called off a post-match press conference for the African Nations Cup game between Mali and Tunisia and ordered it to be continued for more few minutes. Zambian referee Zani Zikazwe shocked players from both sides when he blew the final whistle to end the match with 5 minutes of regulation left to play. After protests from the Tunisia players and officials, Zikazwe resumed the game and blew again to end it in the 89th minute. But CAF officials ordered both teams to get back onto the pitch and finish the remaining minutes, but Tunisia players didn't turn up and Mali were declared winners. The continental event continues this evening with 2 matches on card. Host Cameroon will take on Ethiopia while Cape Verde face Burkina Faso.
But the Nostraore was. Here's the shot, and Moncoro has to tip it wide. Done that for Malul. Stood up to the far post. Chance here for Skiri. Oh, that would have been the perfect way.
Across the borders, Chelsea has qualified for the Carabao Cup final.